Told you I'd make it on time. Well, I set that up. I meant to.
Hello.
I almost just flipped out of my chair just to do it to make something funny. But now I was like, nah, I'd probably really get hurt. And then I'd have to cancel the show and go home.
Why is it doing that? It says it's waiting on you.
Because it's waiting to get time.
Hello.
It's delayed.
Alberto.
Get hurt. See? And then
There
we are. Show and go home. Infinity. Erin's talking about turning the thing down.
I always turn it off when I do it. Sorry.
What's up, EL, Gunner, Albert, Paul?
Oh boy.
She got hers turned up too.
That's good for me.
Yeah, we're still struggling.
What you talking?
What the heck? Oh, they had a countdown. T minus. They meant T minus. They put T equals 30 seconds and counting. 29, 28, 26, 3, 2, 1. Boom, mic drop.
Mark 2, 3, 4.
Mark 2, 3, woogie boogie boogie. I don't know if I told y'all the story about that. Since Albert's on here, we'll do a little preaching.
You should definitely tell that story. Even if they've heard it, you should hear it again.
So we'll do a little preaching since Albert's on here. One night, I was asleep, and I woke up, and Erin asked me, what was you talking about in your sleep last night? You said, Mark 2, 3, 4, woogie boogie boogie. And I said, well, I was talking about Mark 2, 3, 4 in the Bible. I was talking about when Jesus tells the man to take up your mat and woogie boogie boogie. Mark 2, 3, 4. Now take up your mat and woogie boogie boogie. I did tell that on here because somebody said that it was a what's the race car driver?
Boogity boogity.
Yeah, boogity boogity. Daryl Waltrip.
The Reese Cup.
Yeah, that was the DW version. That was the DW Bible version.
Albert said, "Praise the Juby."
Oh man.
Let's see. Good morning, Mr. Fireman says good morning.
What's up, Chris? Michael? Double R. I need to get your address so I can send you something. And I can't find it if you've messaged me or what. And also we're looking for Rudolph.
I got everybody's shirt from last week out except for Rudolph.
Yeah, and I've been in Double R, I've been saying I was gonna send him something for a while. And Go,
I can't send it unless he gives me your address. And if he doesn't give me your address, it just doesn't get sent. Whatever it may be.
And I gotta write myself a note, or Go message me tonight on the chat and tell me to remember to get a magazine and sign it to send to you. So so yeah, I need to do that too. I'm falling behind. Y'all come fire me.
Or email me. I guess I need to get better at writing notes for you. But I don't know. If y'all message him and y'all come up with something, how am I don't know it if I don't know it.
Yep, Daryl Waltrip, ODW boy, woogity boogity boogie. Look, Albert said good morning shirts.
Albert, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, there's not gonna be any more GM shirts for a long time.
What do we got though? Do we got any GM shirts?
We have 3 large GM shirts left.
3 large GM shirts.
Yes, and 1 large Mopar shirt left. The rest, for a while, will simply be our logo t-shirts.
Y'all guys, it's on. If you haven't subscribed to all these other guys, I see them all on here right now in a row here. There's Go, there's Paradise Bay, there's Double R, Mr. Fireman. Y'all can go subscribe to their channels. I'm trying to see if there was anybody else that I was missing in that row. So all of them do Camaro stuff and other stuff. All good channels and great guys. They're always here with me, so I try to push it out there for everybody else to go subscribe to them.
Hey, Dr. Foltz, how are you?
Yeah, I think Paul has one too.
A channel?
I think so. I had to go look.
Yeah, I know everybody, or not everybody, but a lot of people wear XL and double XL. We even have a few that wear triple XL, and we end up, when we get down to the bottom of what's been ordered, it seems like we usually have a few larges left over, and that's about it. And that's just kind of how it's happened. And with shipping and prices going up based on how the shirts are made, we really like the people we're using, but they had to go up based on how many colors were in a design. And our GM had 7 colors and our Mopar had 8 or something like that. So they kind of got a little outrageous for the time being. So that's why we went to our logo design, because it's only red and white. And I can put that on Yep, that's what you're wearing today. So I can put that on a black hoodie or a gray hoodie and it stands out nice. So that's what we're running for a while, until either something changes or we get a really good profitable year.
Now, Albert, I can put you a GM on there. I can write GM.
Yeah.
I can wear it and cut a Camaro down and get some GM dust on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, your dad says I look nice tonight. Well, thank you.
Yeah, she got her hair did.
I got my hair did, yeah.
I'm gonna get me a perm.
First live attendance from England.
Oh,
awesome, thank you. Glad to have you.
Appreciate it.
Wandering Kurt. That's
we're Albert. I would comment, but I'll leave it at that. We're still struggling to find something to do on the channel that is a set thing. We haven't. I was going to do the Galaxy, but we're still in the middle where we're still building the jig for it.
The Fairlane.
For the Fairlane. Yeah, the Fairlane. So we got a new guy, and he's been in the back cutting down, and he's been doing awesome. Everything's cut down. Everything for all the cars that are here is prepped.
If we can keep him, because this guy right here is just giving him the runaround. He's got 47 nicknames already.
Yeah.
His middle name is actually random, and what I think you gave him a new nickname today. Now it's Marmaduke. And
yeah, Marmaduke. It's Marmaduke.
Y'all, this guy has a fantastic personality. I don't know if he's watching. Hey, Corey, if you're watching.
He's awesome.
We're happy to have him on our team. He's been doing really, really good.
Yeah, so everything's cut down, and I got him to build a Camaro floor yesterday, and then we had a car come in that's in the back that's getting the parts prepped for it. It's a 69 Camaro. It's getting the DSE mini tubs and the 4-link set up. Then I put Brandon doing, we're waiting on a car come back from Sandy John. There's Rudolph.
I know,
so,
I just posted.
Yeah. So I put Brandon on the other Camaro floor, and I have the 66, 67, 66 or 67 Chevelle here, which reminds me that you got to get a door skin for the left-hand door. So I got this car that I'm in the process of building, but I had to stop on it for a minute. All this doing like this, I'm thinking of all these people on TikTok doing the Wednesday dance or whatever.
No.
But I'm orchestrating to the, but this car, it came, the guy, we built the car for him a year ago, and he's done a little bit of the body work on it. He let it in the seams and stuff, and he brought it back to get us to do some work on the front end, which we usually don't do. Craig took it in to do. This is a 70, I believe a 70 Cuda. It's an AAR car. So we're trying to get this thing right. So tonight I'm going to, since I got to get it done, and I need to get back on another car that is paying more than this one. I'm gonna just work on this because I didn't really have nothing. I was walking around the shop. I was like, I need something to do. I don't have nothing to do. I don't want to just sit and talk. And I was like, well, I'll go ahead and do some drilling. Drill this headlight bucket piece out. I'll show y'all when we go over there, and we'll start working on it. And we got Wes on here. Go said it's Popeye around.
There is no Popeye hiding this evening because Juby didn't bring the present.
But we can do Popeye. I can get Aaron to put Popeye somewhere. And I was going to bring a hat. I was actually going to go to my dad's and get some other stuff. That's why. Some shirts.
But we had a really busy weekend, so you didn't get to go anywhere.
Tonight, I will bring the hat next week. That way we can get the address and send it off. But we'll get Popeye out tonight. And I'm going to send the H&H hat. And I'll send an H&H shirt. I'll get your size so I can pick the H&H up this weekend. Because when we'll see my dad, this weekend or next weekend? It's this weekend.
This weekend we'll see him.
So I'll get my dad to go ahead when we find out what size whoever wins. Because it's hard to say, all right, I'm going to give away a shirt, but I got to go get a size to give away.
Oh yeah, we do not keep the H&H.
The H&H, so it'll be that, and then I might throw in something extra. So we'll just see. But I have an H&H hat, and I'll get a shirt this weekend, and I'll give that away.
Oh no.
What if you do? I'll give a gift away for you. Or Go here.
Mopar Don, funny you just said you don't want to sit and talk. I mean, that's obviously part of it. It is Tech Talk Tuesday. We talk at the beginning and we talk at the end, and then we do a little bit of technical thing in the middle. So that's what we're talking about, trying to find and see if we've got something along those lines. Let's see.
Yeah.
I will provide the gift to one of your lucky winners. Only one. That's awesome, Go. Thanks.
So, originally with Tech Talk, it was going to be just Tech Talk and talking about parts, not really doing anything. It was just to listen to people's complaints about where they were having issues and see if we could help them figure that out. So that's what it originally started out with. Then we started just doing some work with it. So now we try to do like around 15 minutes to let everybody get on, and then we go to work. And then we talk like the last 15 minutes or whatever we decide, because we haven't never really decided a time. We set an hour, but usually we always go over an hour.
I think we typically talk for about 15-20 minutes, and then we tech for about 40 minutes to an hour, depending on how much you get into it, and then we talk again for another 10 to 15.
Usually I do a lot more than an hour worth of work.
Oh, absolutely.
But
your dad said, what's AAR?
I have no idea. It's a special Cuda.
Come on, Mopar people, tell us.
That's Mopar Don on here. It's a Cuda that came factory with, I guess maybe a Hemi, and it also had a fiberglass hood. It came factory with a fiberglass hood. So
the battery dies. Yeah, we do it till the battery dies.
So we're gonna get up and we'll go back here, and I'll talk a little bit about Wes's floor and some of the stuff that I'm gonna do to it.
Albert and Charlie both said American Auto Racers or Auto Racing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know it was something special, some kind of package that it had, and I know it had a fiberglass hood from the factory. We have the fiberglass hood for it in the back, but I got it put up because I don't want to break it. But once I get these fenders fixed, we'll put the hood on and we're going to get all that fixed. So we'll walk back here and look at, he said it had a special stripe kit.
Cool cars.
So we'll grab the camera.
Are you grabbing
I'll grab the camera and I'll go show y'all some on the floor.
And Papa's going to tell me where he's at.
And Aaron will get Popeye.
Okay.
So.
And Charlie, I don't know if it's any darker. It's just got product in it, which I'm not. I had to buy some, y'all. I had to do girly stuff because I don't own hair product. I own dreads. I braid them in and then I roll with it. So now I have to actually...
I'm trying to get rid of Popeye. I'm trying...
Popeye.
I had, I'm going to my live so I can see what y'all are saying when I walk back here. But I had Billy Graham playing. So I'm gonna grab the camera. I'll talk a little bit. 66 right here. This is the one that I posted about that I had to pull on the frame machine, and it's really going together really good. For mock-up, the door gap is pretty close so far for just throwing it together. I just throwed it over here out of the way so I can do the tech talk. All the parts. The 49 is for sale. Craig decided to sell it, so it is for sale. This is the Chevelle that is done. It's waiting. The guy's got to bring us the tail light extensions, or the quarter extensions, and we're going to profile this as best we can to his tail lights before we weld it out. So that's the last little bit of it. He's local or pretty close, so we're going, when he gets here, we'll go ahead and throw them up in there, fix them. He knows I didn't want to get them welded and it be in the wrong spot. I want to get it close to minimize body filler or anything like that. And it's a post car. And then we have a Challenger that is done. It's getting picked up this week or next week. And we have a 69 Camaro floor that's being built. He's doing some of the plug welding at the spots that we can't spot weld. Spot welded. He's got a spot weld across. So it's up on the jig. And this is how we do the floor. It's basically like a regular, the big jig, but it's on this rotisserie thing, so we can roll it and get to everything and weld it and weld everything on. Pinned. We put the spring hangers in. You can watch the video where I actually build the floor. We put the spring hanger in here and get it lined up with these, and we stitch around it because this is kind of like a torque box thing. The factory don't stitch it, but we like to go ahead and stitch it because, I mean, you can see how far their spot welds are, and this is where all the power is being pushed on the car with the rear end. So we weld that stuff. The typical, I think, not this, let me see, it's not this one, it was that one. You can actually see we had to move it. So usually these are not in the right spot, and we end up having to drill the spot welds out and move it so that the bolt will go in. It's no big deal. They just, for some reason, this side is always off. And we have this Challenger that I started building, and then I handed it off to Devin so that he could build it, because he's used to building these, which he's used to building the Chevelles, but that Chevelle being wrecked and I had to do some pulling on it, I figured I would just go ahead and do it. That way I can fight with it myself. This is Wes's floor, and it's all welded. I'm actually going to go ahead for him, since this thing is crooked. Usually they're welded on wrong. Same as this one. You can tell it's angled that way, and this one's angled that way, and then it makes this, I can't really, Aaron's the camera person and I can't get it. But if you look down on it, the camera don't do it no justice, but if you look down on it, this is going straight, and then it kicks in, and then it starts going back out. You can see the reveal here, but you can't see no reveal here. You can, the top of it, and you can see the bottom, but right here you can't. It's just flush, so you can tell it kicks in. So I'm gonna drill these spot welds out on this, and I'm going to move this and get it straight and get it tucked back in here nice, because there's a gap behind it on that side and there ain't one on this side. So that right there will cause, if you look down at that, will cause your tail panel to want to kick in, because the tail panel is going to hook on over these. So I'll end up moving this and fixing it for Wes. He just wanted the floor.
He says thank you, Jimmy.
And typically this side here is pretty good. I might hammer this flange for him. I'll just go ahead and hammer it and get it sharper so he don't fight with his wheelhouse. And this one over here, when they stamp it, this thing is most of the time off. I don't know why, but it's way wide. Usually this part is real close to this hole, and you can look under here and tell if yours is one like that if you're doing it by this bracket. This piece is supposed to be welded to that. So I'm going to end up taking this and slicing it here and here, and then I'll move all this in. I think I actually did it on my video. I showed how I folded all this in and got it nice and in, but you can kind of tell looking down it what straight is and how it bows out. So I'm gonna fix that for him. And where they got all this stuff welded in, it pulls the floor, and I had to drill out these spot welds that go to the frame rail, the inner structure piece, so it relaxes this and lets it slip so that the floor can come in. So I'm gonna fill these holes, grind that and clean it, and then it'll get a stitch here, it'll get a stitch there, and then the same on that side. And we did do the stitching on the inside, which this will get cleaned to the torque box. I think it actually bolted up onto the jig, but you can tell how that's close and that's wide. It gets real tight down there. This one here, I'm gonna probably just go ahead and drill it, and I'm gonna move it back in the hole a little bit. That way Wes don't fight when he goes to put it in, because I don't need him calling me complaining that he's having trouble, and I had to tell him how to hook a ratchet strap here and to back there and all this.
Oh my goodness.
We're waiting on his firewall. I was gonna go ahead and weld the firewall on for him. I was gonna set it up on my jig, weld the firewall, and I'm going to also get this, because the new guy didn't prep it. This should be prepped, this should be prepped. He didn't know and all this, and I'll get him to go ahead and do spray it with the weld through. And I'm gonna go ahead and drop in Wes's cross member, rear cross member, rear inner valence piece, whatever you want to call it. AMD calls it cross member, but I'm gonna go ahead and drop it in here, and I'll get it lined up where I think it should be, and I'll probably just put him 2 screws in it, and I'm gonna put his trunk drop-offs on both sides, and I'm gonna go ahead and spot weld them on for him. So he'll have his drop-offs on, and his tail panel piece, inner cross member, will be inside the car. It'll be in there. If he needs to, he can get it out, but he shouldn't have to. I'm gonna leave it stuck in there, and with the drop-off curves around, it will hold it in place with the screws out. That way he can go ahead and do like I showed in the video. If he needs to shift anything, he can just take the 2 screws out, shift it, get it in the right spot, finish the car out, and then weld it on the final. I'm gonna hand Aaron the camera, and we'll walk up here. I guess I can turn my phone off. I was gonna see, I didn't even. What's up, Dennis?
Mm-hmm.
We built a car for Dennis, and he's an awesome guy. He did the Laura Levine window tinting. He has a tinting company, Victory. So if you need some window tinting and you're in the area, I think North Carolina. I think it's North Carolina.
It is a Carolina.
Somewhere. But great guy.
David Brown says Mopar madness.
Yes. So gotta get my firewall.
Mopar, no car.
Still working. Also, thanks, Aaron. Looks like my setup. This part for you. I carried my phone so I could look.
That's Dennis. That's his stuff.
Yeah. Alright, so wasn't really nothing that I had to worry about.
No, I tried to stay on top of it. Just
tried to stay on top of it.
Dennis says Fayetteville, North Carolina. And Albert says Camaro madness.
Yeah, that was Camaro madness. So,
well, we got a lot of Mopars hanging out in the shop
have
too.
This headlight bucket. Now, one of the main reasons that I'm doing the headlight bucket, and I'm gonna get my dirty hat on that needs it, and we'll put y'all don't laugh at these. Look at these.
Oh my gosh. Bubba, if you're on, I bought him a new pack of gloves.
She got me new gloves, but they've been here all day. These are still good. They're working. Grab my glasses. I can't see without my safety glasses.
You gotta put those on. Not because you can't see, we gotta protect the little bit of vision you got left.
Yeah, so I only got one eye. I got a lens implant in my left eye and I'm blind in it, so I gotta protect the one eye I got because, and now y'all probably saying, how does he throw them parts in from the road if he's got one eye? I don't know.
Blessings.
Yeah. So, what I was saying is, one of the main reasons I'm taking this out and what brought this on is, this is actually bent, is when we had this up on the car, the upper valence piece and the lower valence would not line up. It was off. We couldn't get it to pull in. That's how this stuff got bent. This right here, the guy tried to do it and it's cracked right there. They pulled on it. I don't know what they did. Some of it got bent, but for some reason, this is typical with every aftermarket fender. I don't know where these came from, but this is a typical problem with a lot of the fenders. The Camaros work good in this area. The Camaros work bad in this area. These are working bad in this area and bad in this area. But the inner bucket piece here is not welded, and that's where everybody asked me when I was building the 69 Camaro why I didn't buy the Dynacorn side structure. I haven't used the Dynacorn side structure in a while. The one that we did use, we ended up having to drill it loose and move some stuff around. And when you drill something, you end up with a dirty spot. Then you gotta plug weld it and you gotta clean it. And it's just a pain in the butt. So I like to just get all the parts where they're not welded and put them where I need them. That way I only have one time spot welding them. And I don't have to worry about doing a bunch of grinding because I don't like doing a whole bunch of grinding. This thing is obviously not welded in here right because it's keeping this from flexing and moving to where it needs to be. So it's saying that it needs to come, that everything needs to come in to each other. So decided to remove this. Well, in the process of deciding to remove this, we looked at a factory fender to try and get some measurements, and it was a 1/4 inch difference on this measurement here than a factory. And then we noticed some things that were different about this headlight bucket from a factory one. This headlight bucket will work on all year models, but this was a certain year model that had them this way, and then some of them had them a different way, but they always make the parts to where they work with all the models. You just had to change something. Like, I think there's something with the Camaro firewall that you have to use a 68 boot on a 69. It's something with the steering. I don't know. But they make one part and they make it universal, so it works with each different car. I don't know if I'm explaining that right or not.
It's universal, but it may require modification to fit certain years.
Yeah, so
like the frame rails, right, on a Camaro.
Yeah, they're 69, or yes, the 68
needs mod.
68 needs a modded frame rail, but it's specific, so you can make it. It would be like if you made them as a 68 frame rail, and what they're doing is doing it to keep from having to make a separate frame rail or a separate jig to make this frame rail that's different than this frame rail, so they just make them at this one and you modify it to make it the other way. If they made them all 68, you can't modify it. The modification to it is a whole lot more to make it fit a 69, so they just make it 67, 68, 69, and then you mod it down to make it a 68. You can buy one of the frame rails correct and the other one is wrong. But that's the same thing here. If you buy it, I don't know what year, say it's a 71, you got a 71 Cuda, the headlight bucket is screwed in, and then on a 72, this thing is already spot welded into place and you just add your headlight. So instead of doing a screw in when they just made it where you just had to do this piece is pre-made onto it and it gets spot welded on. But you can actually see the spots underneath it to where the screwed in piece would have went. So we're going to do away with it because this is an AAR car and this is not how it was. And a Mopar person that knows these cars, if they're trying to sell it and they're looking at it and they go up under the hood and they're like, hey, this is spot welded, that's an aftermarket thing we've noticed. This car's been worked on, these ain't factory fenders, blah, 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 whatever. You got the Mopar guys that are crazy, and I understand. You're paying a lot of money to have a car fixed, and you want this stuff to be close to factory as it can.
I love you Mopar people, I do. I'm one of you.
We typically don't do this for everybody unless they specify. We usually just install the metal that they sell. If they sell it this way, that's how we install it. Unless you say we need to do this, and then we tell you it's going to be price per hour, such and such to do it.
We almost try to talk you out of it because a lot of this is going to have to be removed and put back on at the body shop, and you're kind of double charging yourself.
Yeah, so I'll grab the one and show you. This is a factory one that we cut out of. We cut it out of a factory car. Inner fender, the fender, inner fender, outer fender was pretty bad. This piece was decent. We sandblasted it, sprayed it. It's gonna get painted again. This is just to keep it from rusting. And I've got tape on here where I got to put my primer weld through. But if I can get the tape off of it. If I didn't have these gloves on, I'd probably stand a better chance, huh?
Well, take a second. Somebody's doing, John Conter is doing a restoration on his 70 Chevelle and needs floor pan and trunk floor, possibly outer rockers. His question is it better to install the floor pan with the rockers or install the rockers separately?
Buy the floor pan with the rockers.
That's how we do. With the inner rockers already installed on it.
Yeah, get the one with them already installed. They're good. They always work. Now, I ain't going to say that yours might not, because who knows. But every one we've ever used have always worked with the inner rockers.
And Auto Metal Direct has the floor with the inner rockers already on, correct?
Yep.
Yes.
So,
all right, y'all, Popeye's out here. I'm not going to show you Popeye, but
we're not going to show you. But
he's joined the party, so just be on the lookout.
And Go-Go, I don't know what Go-Go's got as a prize, but he gives good prizes.
I'm telling you, we haven't gotten anything in here that I wasn't jealous of that it had Juby's name on the box.
Yeah, I get stuff from Go-Go all the time. Actually, the gimbal that Aaron is holding the camera with
is a Go-Go present, which I love Go-Go. I love my gimbal, or Juby's gimbal.
And then he got me a microphone that I got set up at the house, and I'm going to use when I get closer to I want to get this tape up because of my OCD, and I don't want to step on it and then it gets stuck to the floor.
Yeah, and that's why I was recording you, because we had somebody come in today, which is common. The first thing out of his mouth when he walked in the shop, man, this is a clean shop. And Craig said, yeah, that's our foreman. That's Juby-Doo.
Yeah, I'm OCD, and it's got to be clean. Man, I can't get this. But anyways, I'll show you this piece. This piece is spot welded, but you can see here it's got screws, and you can see the hole right there's the hole where that screw would bend. There's a hole for that screw, there's a hole for that one, and then that one's back in there. So you can take this off and put a screw in on here, but it's not going to have those little square nuts. You would have to just stick a screw in with a bolt on the back side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill this out, and since I got to bust this loose and move that, I might as well just go ahead and drill these few out here, remove that whole piece, and put this piece in there, and it will be better. And I will just go ahead and weld this across here, and then I'll leave it to where I can work it back and forth, and then I'll weld that later after we get the front of the car mocked up.
With the measurement from the inner fender, from the firewall to the left bracket, let me start over.
Yeah, I don't know what you got saying.
Measurement from the firewall to the left bracket bolts to the inner fender. Would that be the same on a 73 Cuda as this 70 Cuda?
Yes.
Well, Mike needs it, please.
Man, y'all trying to get all my secrets now. I got it wrote down, but let me see. Right here, it's my, y'all can't see this corner over here, because if y'all come in the shop and hang around, y'all might sneak over here and try and get might come over here and try and get my little clipboards with my junk on here.
That's his secret area.
So I guess we ain't cutting off. I would rather help somebody that needs it. Let me grab my tram. Because we all know spot welds. We know how to drill them and all that. So we'll do this a little, show this, and we might start
some teching.
Trying to get this thing out and set up.
I'll go over here so we can hear him talk. And now he's coming back.
Yeah, I'm coming. So this is, I can't remember what name brand this is. It's something, Killer Tools. And it's just a cheap tram, and it works. I think I've explained it a little bit on here now on Tech Talk when I did the Camaro, but you always want to set these at a set measurement. When I wrote down the measurements for these cars for the builders, I put down, we're going the light. I put down what the measurement was. That way they didn't have no questions, because if you change the height of one and the height on the other, and you hold this thing at different angles, it's going to change your measurement. So every measurement I put on for this car would technically work if you had it set on the same number. I used the number 15 that's on my paper as number 15 on the bottom side. Now, whenever you pull it out, if I'm going to go to 34 and I get to 34 and I'm trying to get it there and I go past it, you don't want to just back up to 34. You want to go past, tap it a little bit, and then go back.
Because that's an actual tape in there.
To 34. And you can pull the tape measure from the outside to the inside and double check. 34. So you'll go from outside to inside, and that'll give you center. But that's not the measurement. So the measurement for, let me get here, out of the way, from this bolt hole is, yeah, it should be this one. From the center of this to the center of the outside radiator support should be 40.5, I believe. Watch me be wrong. And usually when I set this thing at 40.5 or whatever I'm doing, I tap it a little bit to make sure that it didn't move. So go there to the center and from the center. So 40.5. Now, whenever you do this measurement, you want to make sure that you have it parallel, the same height. Now, usually on some of this stuff, when I'm doing, I try to look at my level and make sure that I'm level with it. So 40.5.
So like you don't want this one to be way down in the hole, and that one barely tipped in.
So
right, yeah.
Usually, if you have the little pieces in there, the bolt pieces, you can set it right down in them,
kind of catches it,
and then put it in there. And it should be 40.5. This one should be 35. Let me check. I'll have to get my other. Across up here should be 50. And we have, when it's at 50, it should be from the center to the center of this. And we have a laser on the front, and our laser shines, and when we weld these pieces on, we make sure that we have them where it's centered. And that's why I have this piece of tape here, because that's going to be 25 inches from the center of this to this side where I have the arrow on that side of the mark. Now that's with all these shoved in and only unloosening these two to get my 50 inches. So I have a mark there, and my laser should, my line should be right on that. So that right there is 50. This one's the, what, 42.5, 40, yeah, 40.5. And then I got the measurement on the other. It should be 35. If I can, let me go get my other. 35.25.
Oh, you're breaking out the other measurement board.
Because that one there was my previous. So the 40.5, and then 35.25 will be, now like I say, I want to go past my 35, and then I'm going to go back to my 35.25. It's close enough. So the 35.25 is going to go from that hole to the center of that one. From the center of the very first one to the center of this one. So 35.25, 40.5, and then when you X this thing out, you want to exit out, it's going to be 64 1/8. 64 1/8. And that should be from that outside hole to the center of this one. 64 1/8. And then from the center of that one, which would be that bolt, to the outside of this one, 64 1/8. So you want to make sure that you get all that.
Mary
now,
says L bracket on inner fender to the fender is what he needs.
The L bracket right here to what?
Inner fender. Excuse me, L bracket on the inner fender to the fender is what he needs. He can't get the fender far enough ahead when the L bracket is in.
Well, I don't know what he means, because if you got, I don't have the other trim, but this one, this bolt right here Where
Sorry,
you at?
I'm trying to do messages and this.
From this fender bolt, the center of it, to this, the first one on this L bracket that's on there, it should be 9 1/4 inches. So I got another tram that I shortened the arms on, and that's where I start with. I move this in to where I'm close there, and then I have the little short arm, the long arm going out, and I stay parallel with the car, with the cow side, so that I know I'm straight, because if you turn it any way, you're gonna change the distance. So it's 9 1/4, straight out, 90, and straight in. So from the center of this bolt to the center of the L bracket should be 9 1/4. And then I pull everything off of there. Once I get that set at 9 1/4, I go ahead and set these two at my 50 at halfway. And then I build off of that bolt right there to the front of everything. So I do from right here, 40 1/2 to the very end. And then I do the 35 1/4. Yeah, 35 1/4 to here. And then I X out. But I also have measurements. If I went back there to Devin's, let me see. I think he's got my table. So, which one? It's this one. Which you can't really tell what it is. I actually have a bolt in here. So on this one, I changed up how to measure the cars because of this reason. Used to, there ain't one on this side. So used to, we would pull a measurement from this bumper bolt. So we would go, my thing's loose. We would go from the bumper bolt, from the center of it to the center of the bottom bolt. Is how we used to do the measurement to get our pillar set. So we would do the measurements on all those to get our pillar set. Well, then I ended up changing it, and I had made these bolts that screwed in, and it actually had a spot that you didn't have to worry about finding center. You just stuck it in the hole in the end of it, and you stuck it in the hole at the end of the bolt on the pillar. And that would get our pillar set off of our frame rail, which is pinned to the car, so we know where it's located up to the top, and get our pillar set. Well, then when we got our pillar set, that would set this bolt. So the bolt hole from right here straight across and in to the center of this is the 9 1/4. We would screw that there. We would build the front 50, and then we'd build everything off of that. And then we also would build off of that screw bolt. We would double check from the screw to the end, which this one is. I'm trying to see what it is because I don't have it wrote down. That's 50 inches right there. So if you can figure out, if you have a tram some way, you should be at about 50 inches from that inner bracket to the front of your radiator support. And then again, you're at 40 1/2, and then the next one from there to there is 35 1/4. So I don't know if that'll help you. I mean, that's the fender. That's where the fender bolts.
Hey, Bubba.
I can pull it on here. I mean, to show, well, this is the center. Make sure I'm at 15. And from that one to there, that's it, 40 1/2. There to the center. From that bolt hole to the center, 40 1/2. So I don't know what is messed up on the car as to why it won't can't get the fender forward. I do know that some of the holes that are in the front end, sometimes the inner fender, let me go back to this one. All right, well, this one here will work. Sometimes these holes right here are off compared to this side. Most of the time we build it off of that hole and the very end hole. Now if this end hole's correct and we built it off of that to this one at 35 1/4, and then this one here, you can see it's 40 1/2. It's the same as the other one. Yeah, I'm right there at it. So 40 1/2. We built it from that hole to that hole. Now these holes right here, they could be in the wrong spot, and you could have a bolt hole, a bolt in one of these holes right here, and one of these inner ones be out, and it would cause you to not be able to move your fender forward and back. So I would get that measurement from the inner fender bracket piece to the L bracket and see if it's 9 1/4. If that's 9 1/4, I would check from that 9 1/4 one to the front here and see if that's 40 1/2. If that's 40 1/2, I would stick a bolt in this one and in this one, and then I would look in there and see which one of these is not lining up. Because if that's lining up, that's lining up, and this is at 9 1/4,
you're right.
You shouldn't have any issue with it. It's the same as the concept with the door hinges. I don't really have a car that don't have a door on it, but when they weld the plate inside there, they're welding like 3 pieces of metal, and sometimes the plate is, one of the plates will be off and it'll have some of it hanging in the way, and your bolt won't move to where it needs to go. So you take a Dremel and you cut it out. We've had to Dremel these. I think some of them on that car have to be Dremeled out or ate out, and then we'll end up welding it and fixing it because these things ain't all stamped in the right. What I'm trying to say is don't put all the bolts in. Get those few measurements, get them 2 bolts in and check it, or either get the one that's up here at the 9 and the one at the 40 1/2. Check them 2 and then look down in there and see if all of them are lining up and if you'll be able to get a bolt in them. But if you go sticking a bolt in all of them, even though you got them loose and you're trying to move it, something's going to keep it from moving. And the only way to tell is put the fender on there with it off, and then you can look down in the holes. You can see I've got this one on. I've got this fender on. I got 1 bolt here, and you can see the gap on this car. The gap's perfect. Might could go a little tighter. I got 1 bolt in it. Then this one right here, I can see that it's a little bit back. I don't know, I can reach in there and move it. I'll be able to get a bolt in that one. I'll be able to get a bolt in that one. This one's a little tight. That's as far as it'll go. So I could probably eat that one out a little bit. Bolts in right now and got that one lined up. That one right there would hold me back 1/8 of an inch from going forward. And the 1/8 of an inch moved back here is gonna close this gap and make it so tight that it ain't even gonna work.
You can't open the door, nothing.
So that would be my problem right here. I got this thing here too far in. This one here is lined up, and this one here is lined up. You can see it's lined up, it's lined up. So if I had every bolt in there, that 1 bolt right there would keep my fender from going forward, and it would make my gap tight, and that would eliminate everything. So you can see I got 1 bolt and 1 bolt. Now I can look in here, clean, I can mark this in and say, all right, I gotta do some attention to it when I take the fender off. Clean that little bolt up, give it enough room to move forward, and then work with it.
Albert found Popeye.
Uh-oh.
And just for the folks that didn't see him, he's wild this evening.
Oh boy.
He's riding a unicorn.
Hold on, we gotta hit the boom!
Oh, spotlight on Popeye and his unicorn buddy. Woo!
Popeye's a wild one.
Good job, Albert. I'll need your size and your address if you want to email that to me. I'll get you something out.
So I can show you, don't know whether or not it would give you any information, but you can look at this and you can screenshot or whatever. But this is basically telling you everything from the front fender bolt back, from there to the bottom, the center of the front hole, to the edge of the rocker. That's all my rocker height, which you wouldn't need. That's my door spacing, my upper part, and then this is all the top. 40.5 each one of the holes, 35.25, 64.125, 45 from that hole, or 50.25, and then 45 to that one, and then the 9.25 from that hole to there. So maybe you can figure it out off of that.
Mary said that helps, Juby. Thank you. Hey, Mama.
Hopefully, I tried. But yeah, I guess I can drill a spot weld or two out and just. So I just get the. This really sucks because I've got 3 batteries here that are completely dead. This one I think is dead too. Yeah, so I've got 4 batteries that are completely dead.
Does that mean that you are not prepared, or does that mean that you just worked so hard today you killed all 4 batteries?
Yeah, I've killed them all. This one works. But the thing is we don't ever use this. And I have my DeWalt charger, and it usually sits right here, and it's plugged in right here, and I charge my batteries here, and I put my good ones down here, and then I put my bad ones here, and as I charge them, I move them down.
You have a system.
Yeah. Well, since we are building a jig for the Fairlane, we used this to square up the ends on all the pieces.
Oh no, you didn't get plugged back in?
So, what?
Your charger didn't get plugged back in?
My charger was plugged in. I came and got a battery, it was blinking. I put the battery on, I was like, man, the battery's dead. So I grabbed one that I knew was charged here, put it on, stuck one in, I seen it blinking. It was charging, I went about my day. Then I come over to change another battery out and seen it was still blinking. I was like, man, this thing should have done charged. So I went to move it, and next thing I know, sparks started flying.
Oh.
Well, it's because where it's at, and then all the heavy grinding right here throwed all of this
metal yuckies
into the slots, and when I picked it up, it shifted it enough that some of it hit on the board and it just fried it. So it went to smoking. And I don't have no charger.
No bueno.
I actually put one in my Walmart cart online, thinking that Erin might buy it for me.
I don't see your Walmart cart. I see my Walmart cart.
She didn't buy me one, y'all. She did not buy me one. I mean, really.
We share a Prime, but we do not share a Walmart, so I can't help you there, hon. You got to put it in Erin's Walmart cart, not Juby's.
So I got to get a charger because I'm down to whatever's left in 1, 2, 3, and a new one here.
And it's, oh.
This part here, drilling out these, since this part's gonna be dead, I ain't gotta really be careful. Usually I would just drill a little bit, not all the way through. Then I would get my other one. And I would drill it. And then I have this little gasket scraper right here that needs some attention.
Have you ever done any work on Tri-5s in this shop?
I have. I built a Tri-5. That was it, a 55 Chevy.
Mm-hmm.
I did rockers, A-pillars, roof, quarter panels, tail panel, and inner tail panel, tail light extension pieces.
We probably won't do another one. It would be expensive. It wasn't pleasant.
It wasn't that bad. I gotta work on my tools So, yeah, we got a rare 57 Chevy in the back.
That's what Ken and Charlie are telling him now. David's the one that asked the question, and they said that there's a really nice 210 57 in the back.
Yeah, it's a rare one. Everybody that has most 210s are post cars, and everybody that has a 210 post car, they turn it into a Bel Air, a post car Bel Air. Well, they made like 176,000 or something of the Bel Airs. Well, this is a 210 hardtop. It's called the Sport Coupe, and they only made like 23,000 of those. So it's one of those it's rare. You would build it back into a 210 hardtop.
And it's in great condition.
It is absolutely rust free. There's nothing wrong with it except for somebody cut it way back in the day around the wheelhouse, the wheel lip, to do to put a bigger tire on it. And I thought about, I was going to build it before I built the Galaxy because I wanted to, and ended up, I decided to do the Galaxy for my dad, so we put that on hold. But it's back there, and but you can see how I did that. I'll go ahead and knock this one off. Where's the other right there? Now, like I said, if I drilled all the way through it, it wouldn't really matter because the part behind it's going in the garbage anyways. But I'm just representing how to do it without. And I don't have my hand in the way in the back because I know there's some.
I was thinking it.
There's some that are like, yeah, you're gonna drill your hand. I've been doing this a long time. I've been doing sheet metal and pop rivets for a long, long time.
But for those that haven't,
my hand is up here. So, and then when I was up here, and right here, I'm behind this.
So, what brand full floor would you recommend for the 55?
I'm not sure. I didn't do a floor on it, so I really wouldn't know which one. Most of the parts that we used was Golden Star, and it worked. It was pretty good stuff.
They have good stuff.
So I would probably go with the Golden Star if they had the floor. So basically, you can see my spots. I didn't drill through. I ain't got a whole lot. So now I don't have no cleanup on the back side because I knocked them off, except for the one down here, which is not a spot weld because they couldn't get in there, so they tack welded it. It's a little tack weld in there. But like I say, this piece is really garbage. So it might come off sometime.
Pretty good tack.
There.
That's a pretty good tack.
And the tack came off pretty good, so. But it's garbage. And like I say, I will do the same thing with all this, but you see how I just drilled them with a smaller drill, hit them with the 3/8 drill bit, the same one that I used to drill for plug welds. And the way I drilled it, if I wanted to move that piece and put it back, I could have easily, nothing was really messed up. If I was trying to move it to put it back in place, I could come back over here and hammer that piece, flatten that back out, flatten that one, flatten that one. And now they're back, I would just hit it with the grinder. Then I can move it where I want it, and then I got my plug hole where I can plug weld it, and be good.
Charlie said you were really working it, and Paul said Juby just got a workout.
Yeah, so if I just needed to move this thing over just a little bit to make it work, move it, plug weld, and be good. I probably wouldn't use that because that's obviously bent, but I got these little wise hand tongs from when I used to do sheet metal. I just fold that piece back, fold that piece up, and we good to go.
Put it in a box, let's sell it, brand new.
That dog will hunt. Let me turn on Popeye. I don't want him to melt over here.
It's not.
He ain't got his sunglasses on.
Yeah.
So really that's what I'm gonna do is just drill all them off, and it's getting about time, so probably end it.
We're at 30-ish%.
I don't know why. I just go ahead and drill all the way through.
Oh.
Like I say, I'm not saving it, but I wanted to demonstrate
that you could. That used to be my favorite thing, was removing rivets in airplane parts when a rivet went in incorrectly.
I'm sorry I make it look so easy.
To be pretty precise on removing the rivets from the wing sections though, because if you blow a close tolerance hole, you're getting in trouble.
So I can't, it's really hard to get in here at the straight angle, so I'm gonna drill it
from the back side.
Back side, you know, improvise.
Your mom says she's watching on TV tonight.
I'm trying to see, that's not one. That's the one that I drilled earlier. So I got one down here. Oh, hey Mom. There's one, that's the one that I moved. So I'm just looking, trying to see what I got. Now I do got one up here somewhere at the top, I believe.
In that top corner?
Yeah. Yeah, it's this one right here. There's 3 pieces. Oh, and my finger. No, I'm just playing.
Hand wasn't even near it. Got a question, you want it?
Yeah, what is that?
On a 67 Camaro, just curious if the inner diagonal brace in the quarter panel ever gets reused when you rebuild one. It's below where the quarter glass sits inside.
I don't ever reuse it because the amount of money it would cost for me, it would cost to take that piece out, save it, clean it up, and reinstall it. They ain't but like $20 and put a new one in it.
But you do replace them.
Yeah, we replace them. He's talking about the quarter stiffener, right?
Oh, the little doodads. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually did that on the last video of the Camaro. I showed installing that quarter stiffener. Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean,
they're so cheap to buy new, we don't reuse.
When we go to cutting it, to be able to be real careful and not cut that little tab, and then had to get the spot welds off, clean it up, sandblast it, repaint it, weld it back in. We can buy it and put it in there and save you some money. So we replace it. I'll say I thought I had some in the box. I don't know, somewhere.
Paying us to save those is not plausible. But if you're doing it at home and you want to save that piece, you absolutely can.
Come around this side.
I think he's talking about the brace from the jam brace to the rocker that's 67 specific.
Oh, he's talking about the one inside the...
That we talked about on a video before.
We replaced them too.
Yeah, again, if you want to keep it, you can, but in this shop, it's just cheaper to put a new one in.
It's not really... I would say most of the time we save that brace. We don't typically replace it.
Oh, okay. So just kidding.
Yeah, usually, I mean, if they're not bad, we've rarely done. I don't think we've done any that were really bad. I know sometimes they're ate up and we just move it a little, but generally we save that brace because it's part of the inner structure. Same as like the little braces that are on the Cudas and stuff, right? That come down, or the convertibles that come down. We usually reuse those. It's pretty thick and they're usually not rotted. And when we peel two pieces of metal off, if it's a thick piece and a thin piece, we usually can peel the metal off without damaging it and do it pretty quick. And we would reuse it. The tail light panel on the Camaros, the rear bumper ones, they're pretty thick, the two brackets there, but we usually replace those because they're plug welded, they're they're stitched to the floor. Then there's like 3 or 4 plug welds, and usually the people that get their car built, they want the whole tail panel section. So usually we just cut the whole back end of the car off and we give them that whole tail panel section, so that thing goes with it.
Yeah, because some people like to do wall art and keep their panels. So based on what they want to keep depends on how Juice cuts it off the car.
I think I've got them all. I've got one right up here in the corner. Yeah, usually if it's something thick that we can peel off pretty quick, we do. But if it's thin, and we're gonna risk damaging it, and we gotta take time. Then
another one. Let's see if I can read this one properly.
what?
For the Camaro windshield and rear window trim, what was the distance from the seams used to mount the post? I think it was 5/16 off of the outside edges.
For the what?
Camaro windshield and rear window trim, distance from the seams used to mount the post.
I'm not sure if they're meaning the window trim rivets that go in the window.
Donnie, you gotta let us know a little bit more, okay?
I think he means the window trim. The trim that the clips, the rivets that hold the trim on around the window. Maybe that's what I'm gathering.
Donnie says yes, the tabs that go to hold the trim.
I have this that we looked for like a whole episode.
The P?
My little P here.
The P.
And this is just a little, I sent somebody a picture of this so that they could cut their own
I think I have it.
out. But this is just my little tool that I use for that. Well, I've got now where I just eyeball them because I've been doing them. But this, I usually lay it in the window.
Let me
And
come
get over here and she get over here. So usually they're about this far in, and then they're evenly spaced. You know, usually if I get my center two off the center, and then I'll put one in between, and one here. So I put this in there and lay it flush with the bottom, and then I scribe my line, then I turn it, and then I scribe my up, and that puts me at X. And that's what I do. I just go around and I lay that in there. And I just do the same thing all the way across. I can measure this and see, but I fit this under a factory one. And it is 5/16, so I just do, you know, roughly 5/16, and the pin will be on top of it.
5/16.
So if you need Aaron, if you email Aaron or whatever, I can send you a little template, which ain't nothing, 5/16 wide, and just looks like a P, one for the up line and one for the other line, and it's big enough to hold and not lose, but I ended up losing it anyways.
So yeah, if you need that, just email me.
I had to grind that spot weld. And it's still pretty good right there. Not the spot weld, but the stitch.
Stitch.
I think I'm loose, yeah. That was a loose. That one. I think it's a loose. Can't tell. Yep. That's all I got. Done. It's held on by this one in the corner. There's one up under where these two pieces, there's one up under this piece that I can't get to. So just gonna work it back and forth. Till it comes off.
Oh, Corey, unreal.
You can see it right there.
Corey, we talked good about you and bad about you.
Yeah. Oh, Marmaduke. See, I could fix that. And then I could re-weld it in if I needed to. But we're not. It's trash.
It's 8:20.
Yeah, so it's about time to go. I get my little straighten everything back up. And then I just throw this in, line it up with this section right here and pray that it's right. So what I'll do is I'll plug weld these with it right there, and then I'll leave it to where I can move this in and out with this. So when I'm bolted to my inside, I can pull this. You can see it's all flexing and moving. So that's basically it.
Boom.
And that's usually what you have to do on
all fenders.
These fenders. And then same thing with the Camaros. I think the driver's side fits, but the passenger side don't. Vice versa, one of them don't. But you end up having to, the brace inside of it is welded in wrong. That's where I go into that about buying parts that are pre-welded. You can't buy these separate, so you have to buy them welded, so you have no choice. But like inner structures for Camaros and stuff like that, buy them in separate pieces and put them where you need them, because more times you're gonna have to cut that stuff loose and work it.
And then you chance hurting the metal.
The Dynacorn Challenger sides, don't go buy them because there ain't many left and we need them. But they work. They work pretty good. But you can see right here, this and here, we had to split it. We had to split it right here. And that's so we can move this in and out, up and down, and we can move this and get this thing to profile with the door. So once we get it up on there, we'll get it profiling and we'll hold it there and we'll open it up carefully and we'll go in there and we'll tack it. And we'll put a tack and we'll put a tack and get it all tacked, take it off, come and put a couple more tacks in it to make sure, throw it back up on there, check it, make sure it's good, pull it off, and then we weld it up, clean up our spots, and we're good to go. Like I say, that's one of the spots on the Camaro is right here, and then up in here. Usually these pieces have to get bent up. They're real low in here on the Camaro. So you have to drill out these spot welds here and bend this. If you leave them spot welds, you ain't gonna be able to bend it because you've got two pieces of metal that are stuck together and they're not gonna slide. You're trying to bend one against the other and it don't work. So if you release them, it gives it so it can slip and go past. So you wanna drill out the spot welds wherever you're trying to bend. So
Donnie asked if you had tried a spot weld cutter.
I've used them, it's just, they're so expensive, and I made my own. I mean, I use my bit and I sharpen my own drill bit, and I don't have it quite on the correct angle for drilling, but I have it at an angle that I'm comfortable with, so when I'm drilling, I can just give it a little movement back and forth and it cuts it. Now I did make one right here that I use, and I used to keep it in there, but I ground this in myself, and you can see it's got a little bit of a tip on it. So when I drill with my little 1/8 to get in the center of my spot weld, then I have that little bitty tip inside that one. I'm not sure if you can see it.
See it. It's very slight.
That'll get right in there and it'll cut it. And I can regrind this every time. Now them spot weld cutters, I don't think you can regrind them. So I think once they're gone, they're gone. But this is just a regular drill bit. I cut it off flat and I made my own tip and I use it, and it cuts it perfect. But I started out using this, and I got so good at not having to swap this out and use this that I just use this, and I can drill them as fast as you can with a spot weld cutter.
What are your thoughts on the firewall for the Challenger from Dynacorn?
It's good. We use them. We use a lot of the Challenger stuff from Dynacorn. Pretty good bit of it, and I ain't never had no problems. They not really had any problems out of any parts.
Some just fit a little better than others.
Dynacorn firewall versus AMD firewall. The Dynacorn firewall fits better as far as work-wise. AMD's works. I've used it. I can make it work. I know the secret to it. We're trying to get with them to fix it, but it is what it is.
Your dad says Tybee Island is smoke-free. Last time I went, I was a drunk smoker, and I disagree. So unless that's just a recent thing? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can't smoke on the island. So.
Oh, on the beach?
No, on the island.
Oh, on the island. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, good, because now that I'm an old fuddy-duddy.
Next Tuesday,
don't smoke.
I might have these on, but they'll be new, but they'll probably end up looking like these by next Tuesday.
This is proof that I bought him new gloves. So if you see him and he's wearing holy ones, they're either new ones that are destroyed or he hasn't opened the pack yet.
So.
Okay. We're at 13%.
Aaron's been eating all my little Deborah's.
I brought him cheesecake and he didn't eat it.
I was leaving it for you.
Oh, okay.
She bought me cheesecake last night. So she gets me my favorite cake, pie, whatever you want to call it, from Captain D's. And she got me my two favorite sides. She got me okra and macaroni and cheese. But she got me chicken from Captain D's.
I usually get chicken, and you get the chicken and fish dinner.
No, I don't. I get a 3-piece fish dinner. How long have we been married? And I get a three-piece fish dinner.
And I even told Mom that we were having fish and shrimp. And
Yeah,
she
had fish. I had chicken from Captain D's. If I wanted chicken, I would have went to God's country, Chick-fil-A.
But this is why, one, we try not to eat out, and two, I have got to stop eating sugar because my brain is dumb. Too much sugar in the past month, and my brain just goes crazy.
Got to be more careful.
Let's check a couple of comments, and then we gotta call it a night, guys.
And hopefully we'll get some work. I mean, I think we covered some good stuff. The front
we had some
end,
compliments that I didn't hit on.
And that's what Tech Talk's about. It's about you asking questions and me answering. Not me working on a car. That's just kind of the filler bonus. But I appreciate when y'all interact and ask me questions.
And they enjoy seeing you work too, because it helps them out.
Yeah. Because I know you don't want to see me sitting here talking the whole time and y'all asking questions. That's just boring. So we'll continue to work and we'll continue to answer questions if I can. I'm not the pro at this. I work. I can tell you from my experience. If I have something that you ask me and I don't know the answer to, I'm not going to shoot you no bull crap. I'm going to tell you I really don't know. I'll figure it out if I can, and I'll get back with you at next Tuesday or whatever, or you send me an email and ask me or remind me. I'll help you, but I don't know it all. All I know is building the cars here, the ones we have, and the typical stuff we do. I do know a little bit about other stuff, but that's
Albert says he grinds his own tips on his drill bits as well because he's a machinist.
Yeah, see, I guess that's where it comes from. I'm a machinist by trade. My dad's a machinist. I don't know what it would be called if you were like a master machinist. I would say my dad is like the master of masters. There's nothing that he can't do in the machine shop world, portable, out lathe, mill, whatever. Well, I will say I got one up on him, CNC. But he is the Duke when it comes to doing machine work.
Yes.
And I said the other day in our little chat that I would like to. We're up like 41.
I know.
I said the other day that they had shared a car that was built by somebody. Jay Leno commented on it about it being this pristine car. It was Tim Allen or whatever, Tim the Tool Man. It was his Mustang or his Camaro, and they commented about it in our group chat. And I was like, I would like to build one for somebody famous, but I've already built a car for somebody famous, and that's my dad. He's my hero. Like the car's named Laura Levon from Superman's mom. My dad's hero in life was Fred Lorenzen. He drove a 64 Galaxy. He said Superman didn't have nothing on Fast Freddy. There ain't a man out there that has anything on my dad. I love my dad. He is my hero, and I try my best to be like my dad every day, and that's why I built him a car. But Aaron's got some questions, and I'll stop about my dad.
Don't cry.
I do.
He does love you, Ken. He talks about you nonstop. I think you and your dad is like me and my mom. This planet doesn't exist without my mom. So.
Even though me and my dad can't work together very long because we're too much alike.
It's funny. All right, Ben Dodge, he's got his car on the schedule for April, and he was just asking about the firewall because he's looking for alternatives to keep it on the schedule. Yeah, and if you have any other questions outside of Tech Talk, you can always email me. I got your folder in the office. Got a couple of thanks for a good show. Tony Hairston says he's going to need every piece of front end sheet metal for the '67 Camaro. Are your recommendations AMD or Dynacorn mix? They're all great. They all require their own special little quirks, but they all fit well. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah. I see John Conter said, I looked into AMD firewall for the 70 Chevelle. The lower bracket to frame mount don't come installed. Is that common? I think you're talking about the lower torque box. And that's a good thing sometimes, and sometimes it's not a good thing. Some people like to go back original with the 70, and they have two styles. They have a one bushing, one bolt torque box, and then they have a two bushing, two bolt torque box. Now, most everybody, because everybody knows that there's more Chevelle SS's on the road than there ever was made now. Nah, but everybody that has a Chevelle has an SS. And the way to tell if it's a true SS, if it's a factory car,
if it's original, yeah.
If it's original, is look up under the hood, and if it has a two bolt, that means it was a big block car. If it has one bolt, it was not a big block car. So the only other car that had a two bolt that you can't tell is a convertible. All convertibles had two bolts. So you would have 4 total bolts in the firewall with the bushings. So AMD, I guess, opted that piece off so that you could either use your factory ones, or you could buy, I don't think they make the single one. I'm not sure. I think if they do make the single one, I think it comes welded on somebody's firewall.
I think Dynacorn sends it with it welded on the firewall.
With the one that they send with it welded, it's got 4.
That's right.
And then AMD sells the 4 one.
I don't think anybody sells a single one. I think you're right.
I don't think they make a single one. I think AMD sells theirs without it, so that you can, if you have one that's a single one, you can take yours off of your car, because you generally, that don't rot. So you can pop that single one off and put it on there, or you can pop your double one off and put it on there. But they do sell the double one, because everybody that has a single one tries to go to the double one to make it look like an SS car.
Yeah, it's not very typical that people want to go back with the single small block torque box. So, your mom says she's looking forward to seeing us Saturday. We're looking forward to seeing you too. I can't wait for my hug.
Mike and Mary said, real or fake tree? Real 10-foot one here, big tree, small house. I was gonna say, if you had a 10-foot tree, y'all got a mansion. I need some of y'all's money.